Hello everybody, thank you so much for tuning into today's Shoosmiths Live Facebook Live video. You've got me, Samantha Hope, Graduate Recruitment Manager at Shoosmiths, and I'm joined by
Rebecca Horley,
who is a first year trainee solicitor in our Birmingham office. So we are in our Birmingham office today, coming live to you, and we're going to be talking all about life as a trainee solicitor at Shoosmiths, and this is your opportunity really to ask any questions that you might have about the entire process, really, right from why you might decide to apply to Shoosmiths, right through to starting at Shoosmiths, and then what is it actually like day to day as a trainee at Shoosmiths. And Becca is going to share some of her insights for you, and I will chip in with some advice as we go along as well. So hopefully this will be really informative and really useful if you are thinking about applying for a training contract or a placement at Shoosmiths. So let's get started then. We've said that we're filming from Birmingham today, and I want to know, where are you watching us from? It always really interests us to know whereabouts in the UK or worldwide you're tuning in from. And if you've got a friend or a colleague who you think might be interested in watching this video, then just tag them into the comments. If they're not able to watch live, they can log back on later and have a look at the rebroadcast. All of our videos are shared onto our Facebook page, and also they are shared onto YouTube afterwards as well. So if you've not met me before, I'm Sam, and I run the graduate programme for Shoosmiths across 13 locations in the UK. I've worked at Shoosmiths for 9 years, and I'm pretty excited today because we're running an event this evening in the Birmingham office in conjunction with Legal Cheek, all focusing around the green economy. So if you are coming to the event this evening, then just give us a thumbs up in the comments. We're really looking forward to meeting you and to hearing more from our partners about how the green economy affects lawyers and the businesses that we work with. So Becca, do you want to kind of introduce yourself and just give us a quick overview of what you studied at uni and then kind of how you got to here today?
Okay, so I'm Becca. I'm a first year trainee in the corporate restructuring and insolvency team in Birmingham. I studied at the University of Birmingham. I did law with criminology there, and then I did my LPC at the University of Law, also in Birmingham. I'm from the New Forest near Southampton, but I've decided to start working up here in Birmingham just because I enjoyed studying here, and I've got connections here, friends, family, and sort of connections that I made while networking as well while I was at uni. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you said you did a law with criminology degree. So then was that a qualifying degree?
Yeah, so the criminology part was 20%, and so that was either 1 or 2 modules per year, and then I did 4 or 5 law modules as well. But that, because I did the criminology modules as well, I ended up having to do one of the 7 core modules in my final year, so it gave me a couple of less law choices, but I sort of was interested in doing criminology as well, so it's quite nice to sort of mix it up, and I think that it's sort of given me a better oversight of how the law works, because I've seen how it works in society as well.
So when you were deciding about what uni to choose and what degree you wanted to do, did you have it in your mind at that time that you thought you might want to be a lawyer?
So at the time I wasn't sure. I just looked around a lot of different universities that did law with criminology, because that was sort of my interest at the time, because I'd studied criminal law during my A-levels and really enjoyed it, and ended up getting the highest grade out of all my A-levels in law, so I thought that I'd pick that to study at uni, and then throughout my time at Birmingham Uni I did sort of pro bono work and work experience, and doing different areas of law in practice made me realise that I want to be a solicitor, because I think that I've got the right skill set, and I realised that I could use those in the workplace.
Okay, perfect. So what advice would you give to people out there that are kind of thinking about what degree or what modules to choose on their degree? Would you say go for something that you think you're going to enjoy now, or would you advise them to think a bit longer term about what that could mean for the future?
I think a bit of both, actually. I think that when I was at uni, I definitely picked things I was interested in. So I picked employment law, family law, medical law, and that's been really helpful, because I know that in my training contract I want to do a medical negligence seat and an employment seat, so I'm really glad that I picked those. So even at the time it was just because of interest, it's good that I picked those because those are the ones I actually want to practice in. So I think when you're considering different modules, think what maybe what I want to practice in the future, because you want to practice something that you're interested in because you'll be more passionate about it.
Yeah, I think absolutely being true to yourself and doing the things that you enjoy, you're more likely to excel in those long term.
I definitely found that.
Yeah, rather than trying to perhaps pigeonhole yourself into doing something because you think that's what a firm wants you to do. But we would rather you kind of be true to yourself.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that's kind of like uni, and then you went on to study the LPC.
I did, yeah.
So tell us then, when did you start thinking about placements and training contracts and application forms?
So when I was at undergrad, I just mainly focused on getting a good grade and getting work experience, because before I applied to any law firms I wanted to know that it was definitely right for me, because I think it comes across in your application form if you really want to do it. So that was where I was at undergrad. So I didn't actually apply for the Shoosmiths training contract until I was doing the LPC. Shoosmiths came into University of Law a couple of times, so I got to meet them. I'd also met them at law fairs, and that was the first sort of time that I thought about applying for training contracts, because I'd found a firm that I really wanted to apply to, because I didn't think that applying to just a firm for the sake of it was for me, and so I decided to wait until I'd met people from the firm that I really wanted to apply to, and so I actually only applied to Shoosmiths last year, and I focused on that application. I didn't want to do 10, 20 different applications. I knew that Shoosmiths was the right firm for me because I'd done lots of research, so I actually focused all my time into this one application.
Okay, perfect. And what was it about that meeting with Shoosmiths and Shoosmiths people that kind of made it feel like it was for you?
So I met a partner from the clinical negligence team, and she was very passionate about her work, very ambitious and very proud of the work she did as well, which is really important to me because I think that it shows that they actually enjoy what they do and they just put everything into work they do for the best outcome, and I think I knew that was the sort of firm that I wanted to work for.
Okay, perfect. And then, so then you kind of submitted your application. So tell us a bit about the application process and the recruitment process that we made you go through.
Yeah, so the application process started off with an application form. This had sort of 4 or 5 competency-based questions as well as sort of details and qualifications, things like that. And so I spent probably a couple of months actually sort of going to the questions, then coming back again and thinking, is this the best example I can show? Because I'd had lots of different work experience and I'd worked different part-time jobs as well during uni, and I sort of thought, does this match what they're asking? Does this answer the question? And also, are all my answers different to sort of show different things that I'd done? So the application process did take me quite a while, but I'm pleased that I spent the time on it because I think that's what ultimately helped me get through the stages. So I think I picked it up in about March, and then the deadline was the end of May, and I handed it in end of April. And I think that it was good for me to have that time to look over it, read it back again, add it, change it, because it made it more succinct, and I was really pleased with the answers that I gave. Once I handed in the application, there is a video interview where you have 4 questions, and that's quite quickly after you hand in the application. And then if you get through the video interview, there's then an assessment centre.
Okay, perfect. So the process will be exactly the same as that this year. So the training contract application will be available for you to apply to from next week, from the 9th of December, and that's for training contract and a VAT scheme. And then if you're successful at that stage, then you'll progress to the video interview, and if you're successful from that stage, you'll progress to the assessment day. And our assessment days are held in late June. Everybody goes through the same assessment centre regardless of kind of how you came to that point. And it's a chance for you to obviously get to know us as well as us getting to know you. So tell us a bit more about the actual assessment centre and what happened on that day. Not necessarily just the exercises, but tell us about kind of the whole experience.
Okay. Well, my assessment day was the hottest day of the year. It was 31 degrees, I remember. So I remember buying a special top. And when I arrived, everyone was really friendly. There was sort of a networking space as you came in. You got to meet the trainees and people that worked here and the recruitment team. and then you were split off into like different groups. So I think there was 3 or 4 groups, and you all did different things throughout the day. Before we did that, we had sort of like a meeting in the boardroom where Sam and Amy spoke to us, sort of put us at ease, which was really nice. And to be honest, I didn't feel like it was a intimidating environment at all. Like I hadn't been to an assessment centre before. I've been to the Shoosmiths one, so it's my first one, and I was sort of quite nervous because I didn't really know what to expect. But I felt really comfortable, and I think that helped me sort of show who I was. Because I felt comfortable enough to do that. And then so we had different tasks. We had a presentation with an interview, written exercise,
presentation, interview, written exercise, group exercise.
Group exercise. You know what? I actually really enjoyed that one. I felt a little bit like I was on The Apprentice.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed the day, and people that I met from the assessment centre I still connected with on LinkedIn, and some of them are now future trainees as well, coming in next year and the year after, and it's quite nice because we still support each other, and I've had messages from them, and it's actually really nice. And I feel like even candidates that were unsuccessful or successful, I've actually still got friends from that day, and I think that shows a lot about the way the day's run and the way you're allowed to interact with each other. You get the time to actually get to know each other. I really found that beneficial.
Yeah. So for you, it's been quite a quick turnaround. Yeah. For most people, usually they'll go to an assessment centre, might receive a training contract offer, but then it wouldn't start for another 1 or 2 years. Yeah. But you actually have started pretty much straight away. So that was just because we had an increase in the number of vacancies that we had for trainee solicitors this year, because we'd increased the whole programme, and so we had some earlier vacancies, and so you were lucky enough to get straight into one.
I was very excited.
Yeah. So after that quick turnaround, you got your offer paperwork and the phone call to tell you you're successful, and then quickly came around the induction week. So our trainee year starts in September, though we do have starters that start in March as well, but you joined us in September. So tell us a little bit about your first week with the firm, which was an induction week.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was quite nerve-wracking to begin with, because we met in Milton Keynes, we checked into the hotel, and then we all met in, I think it was Las Iguanas. So all 30 of us went for like a nice dinner, cocktails, and it was quite an informal environment, which I think was nice because we got to sort of meet each other and get to know each other. So everyone from the different offices met, and then we had, so that was on the Sunday night. And then into the Monday, we went into the Milton Keynes office and had like inductions and training, and there was a lot of focus in that week of getting us to know the firm, what they expect of us, and also just sort of helpful things of how to, do well within the working environment. So things like mental health, nutrition, and just lots of tips and tricks, which was really helpful, because for me personally, I come straight from uni, and this is my first full-time job in an office, and I think that week really helped me to sort of feel confident going into a new team and meeting new people. And over the week, we all became really good friends, because we had different social events every evening, from cocktail making and pizza making, a pizza party, didn't we?
Yeah, that was great, wasn't it?
Really fun, yeah. And I'm really pleased that Shoosmiths provide that, because I think that now we've got such a close network of friends, that when I had to call the London trainee the other day, had a little chat with Dan, and it was just nice because I could ask him questions, and we already know each other, and so it's connecting the different offices as well, which I think is really great. And also you'd feel like you've got support there, because the trainees in Birmingham, there's 5 of us, we're all really good friends, and it's just nice, because if I'm having a day where I'm like, oh, I've got a question but I don't want to ask someone that I'm working with, or if I just want to have lunch with someone, it's really nice because we're all there for each other, and I think that the induction week facilitates that really well.
Okay, perfect. I love the pizza making, that was great. 30 brand new trainee solicitors all kind of making their pizzas, and some were more edible than others, I'd say.
I was quite proud of mine.
So the induction week happened, and then you joined your team. Okay, so tell us about. So, well, I guess I'll give some background information. But as a first year or first seat trainee coming in, you're normally allocated a seat, and then from there you get to kind of get to know your training principal, which is a training partner in each office, and have a conversation about kind of how you see your journey of training progressing through the firm, and at that point you start putting forward some seat preferences. So for your first seat, you joined the corporate
restructuring and advisory
team in Birmingham, and tell us a bit about what does that mean? What does that team do?
So our team work with insolvency practitioners, administrators, who work on things like CVAs and IVAs, which are company voluntary arrangements. So they help businesses sort of get back on track. And we work with the practitioners that facilitate that and give them advice. I also worked on bankruptcy cases and different corporate things as well. Sort of drafted board minutes and corporate-y things like that as well. What's been really good is the fact that I didn't actually see myself maybe picking a corporate seat. So the fact that I was allocated into it, at first I was sort of a bit like, I'm not sure if I'm going to like it. But actually, it's been a really good experience because I know that going forward, I'm not going to wonder, what if I'd done a corporate seat? I don't know if I'd like it or not. So now I've had the experience of doing it, I think it's really helpful for me going forward, knowing what other seats to pick. So I've got a really well-rounded training contract. And the team's really good. We do a lot of networking with our clients and social events. And I really enjoy working in the team.
So a lot of people will be thinking, okay, corporate is definitely the sexy area of law, but it also can be an area of law that has long hours. So tell us a little bit about how you found that so far.
Well, there's definitely days that are busier than others, but they don't. If I have completed all my work and asked everyone else if they've got anything else to do, I am able to go at 5:30. It's not. I haven't been there till 10 p.m. every night. That's not how it's been. I think Shoosmiths are really good at promoting a work-life balance, and they actually mean it. Because I can still go to the gym in the evening. I've still met up with friends in the evening, and I've still had time to do that. I mean, there has been some nights where I've stayed later because we've got a deadline, or for example, this week we've got a hearing on Thursday that I'm preparing for. I know it's going to be a little bit later, sort of today and tomorrow. But I wouldn't say that I've been here till, the early hours of the morning every night.
All-nighters?
No. I had an all-nighter.
Okay. Good to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just want to remind you guys that you can ask Becca a question about the application process, about her training contract. You can ask me anything as well. So if you want to ask a question, now is the time. Just type your questions into the comments box. I can see we've got a few messages on here already. So hi Lauren, she's watching us from Birmingham as well. So hi Lauren. And Rihanna is also in Birmingham. Hello. Emmanuel is watching us from Nottingham. So Sheffield. The Lake District, that sounds nice.
It does sound
I hope you're in a nice kind of cottage with the fire on, all Christmassy. We've got somebody, Bethany, who's watching us from Bristol, and she's going to be doing her application soon for the VAC scheme for the Birmingham office. And she's hoping to attend the Insight Evening. So if you have applied for the Insight Evening, you'll be hearing back from us about the outcome of that application before Christmas. So do keep an eye on your email inbox. You'll be hearing from us shortly about that. Birmingham, hello. Amy, who's watching us from Birmingham. Okay, so let's see if we've got any questions on here. So Reggie has asked, how big are the assessment centre groups? So I'll answer in terms of kind of the actual day itself. So on an assessment centre, we have usually between 24 and 32 applicants per day. And then for the actual group exercise, do you want to give a little bit more information about that?
Sure. So the group exercise, I think there's about 8 of us in the room. And there's 8 partners that sit around the outside of the room. So each person in the group is marked or sort of assessed by a partner. And you're all given name badges. You all sit around a table, and you've got like a task basically to negotiate with each other, and you've got basically a specific amount of time to reach an outcome. So in a group of 8, you've got to sort of, it's a good chance to be able to show that you can work well within a team, and sort of say what you want to say, but also not talk over people, and also listen as well to what everyone else is saying, because there's obviously a lot of other people in the group. So you've got, I think one thing is definitely to listen to what everyone else is saying, so that when your turn to talk, you're not wasting time by either saying what's already been said, but also using to your advantage what other people have said as well. But I don't think the groups are too big. I think they're quite a good amount.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a difficult thing to be listening and not necessarily just thinking about what you're going to say next.
Yeah.
Which is is a really fine balance, and I think all of that comes from practicing through things like networking events, where you're in that similar sort of situation where you are trying to think about what you're going to say next for the conversation, but you're also obviously engaging in what that person is saying. And did you see certain roles coming out in the exercise? Did you see was there an obvious person that was a leader, or?
I think not an obvious leader. I think there's definitely people that like to do the timekeeping. That's quite a good one. There was someone who was really good at maths in mine, so they sort of did the calculations. But so in the task that I had, there was 4 different things we were negotiating on, and 2 people were sort of allocated to each area. So you were actually negotiating with one other person, but within the team, if that makes sense. So I was working on an energy task, and I was sort of saying we need to have the solar panels here, they fit within our budget, they work really well, and the person who I was negotiating with sort of had something similar, but it was out of the budget, so we basically had to have a discussion of what works best, what's in the budget, and to work it all out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think the key, so often people want to take on a role like timekeeper or scribe, but it's really key to remember that you're all working to one common goal usually in a group exercise.
Yeah, I don't think I took a specific role. I just made sure that I was listening and just spoke sort of with enough time. It's not like I was speaking for so long that I was sort of taking up the time, because then other people didn't have a chance to speak.
Yeah.
But also, letting everyone in the group know this is my time, I'm going to say what I want to say, so please listen, and then we can help get to the goal.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so we've had a couple more questions come in. Okay. So let's see. Hi Phoebe, she's watching us from Birmingham as well. Chris is watching us from Chester. So Megan would like to ask, did you do a vacation scheme with the firm, or did you go straight to the training contract?
Okay, so I did actually go straight to the training contract. I was really busy with the LPC at the time because it's a really intense course, and I had actually missed the deadline for the vacation scheme, so I got in contact with Sam and I said, is it okay if I still apply for the training contract? And you definitely encourage that, don't you?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I think that obviously the vacation scheme is very competitive and there's not that many spaces, so I wasn't too worried that I hadn't had a vacation scheme, because I'd also had a lot of work experience in other areas, so I knew that I wanted to be a solicitor, and I was pleased that I'd met people from Shoosmiths before. So even though I think a vacation scheme would have been a great experience, I don't think it's a negative if you haven't done one. Just go ahead with the training contract application as well. Yeah.
I think it's so important that as a firm we allow people to apply directly for a training contract, because not everybody is in a position where they can take a week out of work or caring commitments or whatever it might be to come on a VAC scheme. So there still needs to be opportunities that we're able to offer to everybody.
Really
and exactly as you said, it's great if you can get a VAC scheme, it's great if you can get some legal work experience, but it's not a disadvantage if you don't get it, and you can gain similar experiences in other ways, such as insight evenings, open days, watching these videos. Okay, so Molly McKenna has asked, when you are applying to Shoosmiths, what made you keen to apply to the Birmingham office?
Okay, so I was sort of torn between either the Solent office or the Birmingham office. I'd studied at Birmingham Uni, and I wanted to live here, so that's sort of what drew me to the Birmingham office. Also the teams that I'd met, so I'd met the clinical negligence team, and I know that the Birmingham office is one of their main teams, because I'd really liked to do a seat in that team. That was one of the things that drew me to the Birmingham office. It was mainly just location in terms of where I wanted to live, because all the offices are lovely. So I think that's one thing about Shoosmiths, is you're very lucky that there's so many places you can apply to. And especially with the London one as well, there's a lot sort of all over the country, so wherever you're from, you're most likely to have one that's quite close to you, I think. I think Birmingham's a fantastic location because it's such a busy city. There's so much going on. There's loads of young professional networking groups, and specifically in law and professional services.
So it's a really kind of vibrant city for that reason. And then for Shoosmiths, it's in the middle of the country, so it's in the middle of all of our offices as well. So it's a great location for kind of training and other events that are
easy to travel to other places as well.
I think that it doesn't really matter what location you apply to, as long as you've had a long-term thought about what that location could offer you in terms of your kind of personal life and what you're going to get out of it, and obviously work life. And you thought about the departments that we offered here, and mentioned clinical negligence as well. So that's an area that trainees don't always apply to us for. We don't necessarily talk about as much as some of the other areas like corporate, commercial, employment and real estate, but it is an area that is available, and basically you just have to put your hand up to say, I'd quite like to do this, and we can try and make it happen. I spoke to the training principals and said that I'd like to sort of experience all the different divisions. So Shoosmiths has 4 different divisions. You've got personal advisory, business advisory, corporate and real estate, and I really wanted to sort of experience, because you get 4 seats, I thought what would be great is to meet as many people as I can and experience different types of work and the different ways people work as well. So I want to do a seat in sort of every different division, and I spoke to Kashmir, who's the partner in the clinical negligence team, and they're going to look into having trainees into that team, because I think that they're such a successful team that I think it'd be a really good experience for me. So we have done a Facebook Live video with Kashmir before, so if you want to go and find that, you'll find that on the Facebook video page or on our YouTube, and I can link it into the comments on this video as well. So if you do want to go and find that and hear a little bit more about Kashmir's work in clinical negligence, it's a really good informative video. Okay, so we've got a few more questions that have come in. So Lauren Maroney would like to know what types of questions are asked during the video interview. So you take this. Do you remember?
I do.
Okay, it wasn't so bad you erased it from your mind.
No, I was very nervous to begin with, because I was sort of like, I knew that I had only like 30 seconds or a minute to sort of think about what I was going to say and then speak. Was it 2 minutes? So I think it was maybe like a minute to prepare, like read the question and prepare and think about it, and then a minute or a minute and a half to answer it. So I was a little bit nervous about that, but I'd sort of read through my application form and knew that inside out, and I'd also sort of researched what's going on in the firm and read the blog posts and the news and what cases have been worked on, and also just sort of listed some examples of what I've done that I could link to different skills. So I was a little bit nervous about the video interview, because I think it's so fast paced, but I think that's a really good skill to have, is to be able to react and answer things, because that's what you have to do in the job. I found it okay actually.
Did you do any preparation for the video interview?
Yes, I did do quite a lot. Well, I remember, in the time that I had, because I handed in the application form and I think a link was sent the next day. And then I had a week to do it. So I think I spent about 3 or 4 days preparing, because I didn't want to leave it right to the last minute and sort of panic. And I knew that I had a day where I could, set up my desk, set up my laptop, and the house was quiet. And I said to my housemates, like, shh, before I'd done it. But and I found it okay. There's sort of competency-based questions or questions about the firm. I think just being confident in what you're saying, and just go for it, really. Did you use any special equipment to film, or did you use your webcam on the laptop? I just used my webcam on my laptop, and I placed it on a couple of books on my desk, and I put business clothes on, did my hair, did my makeup, and just went for it. Just treated it like an interview, like someone was sat in front of me. Made sure I looked at the camera, and I picked a chair that doesn't swivel, just in case. I just sort of thought about all the little things as well. Made sure I had water there, just in case I coughed or anything like that. Just sort of, it's good because you do explain it very clearly in the process. So at the start of the video interview, it's not just like, right, start. There's a clip of Sam explaining exactly what you have to do, the timings and things like that. I think that's a really good tip that you just mentioned, though, to raise up your laptop on a few books, because if you are using a webcam, you are normally naturally looking down a bit at your screen, so actually raising up the laptop so the camera is in line with like
your
you're looking at
face.
Someone
is much better, and comes across better. And then just making sure the lighting is good, because it comes across just as that you've put some thought into the video, and that you feel comfortable in the environment that you're in as well. And there's a nice clear video for us to watch. Okay, so Phoebe is asking, in light of Samantha's recent YouTube video on personality, thank you for the plug on that. We'll share the link on the video. How did you personally showcase your individual personality in the application process?
Okay, so in my interview with the partners, I sort of used some non-law examples as well. And I remember, so I worked at Peppa Pig World.
Peppa Pig World?
Yeah,
okay.
when I was studying, and I used that example for one of the questions. I think it was like how I dealt with a difficult situation, and I was explaining the time that I was working there, serving ice cream, and people were sort of shouting and pushing in the queue, and how I sort of dealt with it. And I now sit next to one of the partners that interviewed me, and they're like, "Oh, that was a great story. Remember that?
Yeah,
it was so funny." And I think that in your interview you shouldn't be afraid to use examples that make them laugh, or have, explain the skills that you've got and link to it, but also have a laugh with it and show that your personality, because I think that a lot of people can answer with work experience or a project they've done at uni, because that is just common, everyone's done that, and that's not to say it's not a good answer. It's just, I think if you can have a couple of answers as well up your sleeve that are sort of a little bit different, a little bit funny, because they're people that are interviewing you, so I think that it was a really good thing that I was able to make them laugh and sort of have little anecdotes from different things, and I think that made me stand out in the interview process.
And they're interviewing for people to join their teams who they want to work with on a day-to-day basis, and they do want to know that they're going to get on with you and be able to work cohesively with you, so it's really important to get some of that personality in. And I think some people will guide you away from using humour too much in interview scenarios, but I think you're right. If it gets across your personality, and if you're not sure if it's a bit borderline, then maybe just get somebody else to hear out your kind of draft answer first before going with it.
I think it's the right balance. Because I feel like I was able to explain the skills that were showing, but also to sort of have a little bit of a laugh, and I think that it's important because it makes you stand out from other people.
That is so important, because you're exactly right that kind of everybody that we're seeing has done very similar degrees and work experience opportunities and things like that, so it's great to have something that sticks in the mind. So I've got a question for you. I would like to know, so you've only been in the role of a trainee solicitor for a couple of months, but what's been the most challenging part about that so far?
I think that the most challenging part was just getting used to working in something I've never done before. So it was sort of adjusting to working 9 to 5:30-ish every day, because at uni I'd sort of been used to sort of, you do all my work, but I'd be like, oh, if that needed to be done, I could do that maybe like 7 in the evening, or I could go to the gym in the day, and it's just, I would say the biggest challenge for me is just sort of working out how you like to work, and getting used to working full time, I think. And also I was doing a new area of law that I'd never studied before, so that was a big challenge, but I actually feel really proud of myself now, because I'm sort of 3 months in and I feel like I'm supporting the team a lot better. They're asking me to do a lot more, they're giving me more responsibility, and I think it shows they can see the improvement I've made, and it's such a compliment when they say to me, oh, this is really good, oh, you've really improved, because I think that fills me with quite a good sense of achievement. So the challenge is definitely just like sort of getting used to it and getting stuck in, but it's really, I feel like the rewards, that come with it are worth it.
Okay, and then thinking about kind of going back to something a bit more fun, has the office been decorated for Christmas yet?
So we have a thing called Pimp Your Pod.
Okay.
So each sort of team have a competition to decorate their Christmas area the best. We haven't done ours just yet, we're still thinking of ideas, but there's definitely a gingerbread house, ice theme, we're sort of working with ideas.
Okay.
But yeah, no, they definitely do decorate the office.
And who judges it?
I don't know. I don't know who judges it.
Okay, perfect. And what about Christmas party? Is that...
So I've had mine.
Okay.
So we had ours in the council house in Birmingham last Friday. Really, really fun. And it was really nice because we had some people from our team. I had Danny as well from the recruitment team on my table. And it's just really nice sort of social environment, and I think that it's helped me get to know the girls on my team even better. And I think, it's fun because we can say on Monday, like, oh, how did you find the party? And things like that. It was really good, really fun. And it's also the trainees got together as well that evening. It was great.
Perfect. Okay, so Reggie has also asked, in the application it states whether you have any links with Shoosmiths. I believe it states that it's looking whether you attended an Would you recommend including interactions with Shoosmiths via Facebook and Instagram in that section? So Reggie, we were asking this question literally to understand whether you've kind of looked into us before. So yeah, we'd be more than happy for you to mention if you've attended an insight evening, if you've maybe seen us talk at an employer presentation at a uni, or if you've had some good interactions with us via Facebook and Instagram, for example. So if you're always regularly tuning into our live videos, then you might want to mention that. And yeah, it's really just gives us a little bit more information about how committed you are to Shoosmiths in your research. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to refresh this and see if we've had any final questions coming in. If you've got anything to ask, you've still got time, you can type it in really quickly. Now, let's have a look. Thank you so much for all of your questions so far. There's been some great questions asked. Okay, so I don't think anything final has come in. So I just want to ask you finally, what would be your top piece of advice for viewers who are thinking about submitting a training contract application in the next few months?
I would say don't rush it. You've got time. And I would just say, just look at as many different examples of things that Shoosmiths have done that you can connect with. Look at the values the firm has. And just really research the firm and show why you're passionate about the firm. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us on Facebook Live, on Shoosmiths Live today. Thank you for tuning in. We will share the link for Kashmir's video and for my video about personality into the comments. And if you have any more questions, even after this live broadcast, you can still ask us and we will answer them for you. We will see you tonight if you're coming for the Legal Cheek event, the Green Economy in our Birmingham office. Otherwise, we'll see you next month on Shoosmiths Live. Thanks.